So in the Spanish numbers review program, what we're going to do is create a method that receives a parameter. So this will inform the method on how it is to create its, to accomplish its task. We're going to send it a number, and then based on that number, it will print the associated number in Spanish, but like as text. So what we're going to do in the main program, so for int I equals 1 while I is less than or equal to 10, we'll go I plus plus. Okay, and then here, what we're going to do is inside the loop, we're going to make our function call. So let's make the, method call. So we're going to call the method Spanish, and then we're going to send it the number I. So it's going to go through all of the numbers from 1 to 10. Every time it goes through the loop, it is going to call the Spanish function. And based on the number that it receives, it is going to print the correct number in Spanish. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we'll do a public static void Spanish. And then what we do here is this technically, the technical term for what we are sending here is when we are sending a piece of data to a method from the main program, it's called an argument. And then what happens is in the method, what we receive here as a parameter. So I won't get into, why it's called this from the main program and then receives it as, a different term, but we do have to make a distinction between these two things. So that's why there's a different word. So what we're going to do is we are going to receive the number. Now what we have to do is we have to store it in a variable. So I am receiving the number I. In the Spanish method, I will create a variable here called int n. So it does not have to have the same number, the same name as the argument, although it can. We could put I here. I'm putting n here just because it's a number. I'm using I here because that's a typical counter for a for loop. So what's going to happen is the first time it runs through the loop, 1 is going to get passed, and then it will be received here in integer n. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this as a series of if statements just to keep it extremely clear. So if n equals 1, then what we want to do is we'll do a system.out.println the number uno. I'll do a little copy and paste here. Then we'll otherwise, so else if the number is 2, then we will get the number dos. Other than that, I'm going to do a little copying and pasting here. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll just kind of go down here 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the Spanish equivalent, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we've got them printed here. Now what's going to happen is when we run the program, it's going to call this function 10 times in a row, each time with a different number. So we should get a listing of all of the numbers from 1 to 9. So I'm going to run this program. And then sure enough, we get this as our output. So the important thing to remember here is that whenever you have a piece of data that you're sending, so sometimes it's multiple and you separate them by commas, they need to be received as a parameter in a variable. So if you think about this, this is like we're throwing a ball. Imagine like this number I is a ball. And now what we need to do is we need to have kind of like a catcher's mitt here that it can hold. So if we're sending an integer, it has to be caught by an integer. So this is not the original variable. If we make any changes to it inside the method, this doesn't change in the original program. We're only sending the value of it to the method.